For this final presentation, we're going to combine two elements that we really haven't used before in class. The first is presentation aids, and that can mean using slides or low-tech presentation aids that can be anything from things that you have with you when you make your presentation that you can show on camera, to maybe something that you wear, or you can use your imagination. You don't want to have like images on a phone and then hold it up to the camera. That doesn't work. People can't see that. So you need to think through that. We'll talk more about that. And the second element is going to be the use of artificial intelligence to assist you. You have two options, and this is one of the two options. So the other option is on another video. That one is using AI to basically create a recipe that you then make and talk about. This one is you're going to use AI to create a holiday that doesn't currently exist, and then you're going to tell the audience about it. You're going to do all of the other things that are required for a presentation. You're going to do additional research. I'm going to walk you through one example here in this presentation, in this lesson. So you can choose one or the other. And as I said, we'll talk about this more in the discussion boards, and you're welcome to ask me questions. But this is how to do one of the two options, which is to use AI to create a new holiday. So I chose to create a holiday based around an album that came out in 1971 called What's Going On by Marvin Gaye. It is considered by Rolling Stone magazine to be the greatest pop, soul, rock album of all time. I can't disagree. It came out at a time when the United States was kind of pulling itself apart over issues of war and race and economy. Does that sound familiar? So it was a very powerful record, and it remains equally powerful today. And so I had AI assist me in creating a holiday around this album. And here's how I did that. So here's the prompt I used. I happen to use an AI generative engine called Perplexity. I actually pay $20 a month for Perplexity because I think it's that good, and I use it in a variety of ways. Sometimes in classwork, sometimes for other purposes. And here's the prompt that I wrote, and I want you to pay attention about how specific this information is, because your prompt will guide AI in deciding what it's going to include in its response to you. So here's the full prompt. Create a national holiday that doesn't exist based on the album by Marvin Gaye, What's Going On. Include ways people should celebrate and share the music, food to eat, activities to engage in. Give it a name that doesn't refer directly to the name of the record, and set a date. So I gave it a lot of specifics, and here's what it came up with. Now I'm not going to read this entire response here. You can pause the video and read it for yourself if you want to get a bigger feel for what AI came up with, but it created a national holiday called Harmony for Humanity Day, which I really like. And then it listed some things that might be done on this holiday. It set May 21st as the date of the holiday. That's the date back in 1971 when the album came out. And you can see that it goes through some things. Now, I took some of the stuff out because there was a lot of stuff in the response, and some of it I just didn't want to use, and some of it was just too much. But here is what it came up with, and I have to say it's quite good. I really like it. I think we should create this holiday. Now, once you've done that, you have to then create a presentation with an introduction, a middle part, including writing a thesis statement, a conclusion, and you're going to do some additional supporting research. Let me give you some ideas on how I did that for this. Here's the thing about research. You can research anything about anything. And so if you are doing research on a delicious glass of water, there are just so many things that you can look into. What is water made of? How much water is there on the earth? I mean, use your imagination to create supporting information and then do the research. And here are a couple of very simple examples that I found in about 2 minutes on my new holiday. For example, the AllMusic Guide, which is a guide to all kinds of music that you can get online, talks about what's going on, and it says it was Marvin Gaye's masterwork, the most perfect expression of an artist's hope, anger, and concern ever recorded. Now that is a big statement. And when I say something like that to my audience, it's going to be really meaningful. You're going to go, oh. Now, a lot of you are so much younger than I that you may not be familiar with this record, or maybe not even Marvin Gaye. Some of you, because he was such a big superstar back in the day, have heard his music and are familiar with it. Maybe your parents have played it, your grandparents have played it. You want to expand your audience's understanding and knowledge about your topic. There's also an article in a scholarly journal written about Marvin Gaye by a man by the name of Auerbach, and it's called What's Going On? Personal and Racial Trauma in the Music of Marvin Gaye. And he talks about, now Marvin Gaye lived a very tragic life. He was eventually murdered by his own father in 1984, 13 years after this amazing album came out. And he had a life full of tragedy and difficulty, and ultimately it ended in the ultimate tragedy. And so having some of that background is of interest to the audience. So this is how to put together this option, should you choose it. You can choose this one or you can choose the other one, on using AI to make a dish that you will prepare and talk about in this final presentation, incorporating presentation aids.